Thank you. Good evening, my movie-loving brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday evening on the Screen Talk Live YouTube channel where we talk about all things movies, movie news, and other screen-related stuff. I'm, of course, your humble host, Keith Toothman. I am joined today by my friend, colleague, and co-host, Trevor Farney. Trevor, how are you doing today, buddy?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I suffered a bit of a having my mind blown earlier from watching Ashoka, but I have recovered fully. They've put all of my brain back together like they couldn't do for our friend Humpty.
Oh, right. All back together again?
Yes, sir. It took most of the King's horses and men, though.
Guys, we are going to be talking about a little bit of Star Wars today. Of course, we're going to be talking about Ahsoka. Carter, get out of here. Come on, house. Of course, we're going to be talking about Ahsoka. Hopefully, everybody has seen it, and there's no spoilers for anybody in here. But yeah, and a couple other little topics. Again, there's a strike. Not a lot to talk about. I know there was a trailer for like Aquaman 2 that dropped and stuff. I don't give a fuck about that. I hate that movie. I hate that whole world. Just give me more Robert Pattinson Batman.
Right.
And yeah, so there's like maybe a few things that I guess we could have like maybe talked about, but I think we got a cool little few topics. Plus, I want to spend most of the time talking about Ahsoka, honestly, because, we'll get to that. But guys, if you are new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. And don't forget, the way we do the show around here is we go over a few main topics, and then at the end of the show, we like to take any comments, questions, chats, super chats, or anything you left down in the comment section below. So make sure you're commenting and asking those questions in the chat, and then make sure you're sticking around to the end of the show to see us answer any of those questions. All right, with that down, we are going to jump right in to our first main topic today. And our first main topic today is this. Trevor, I sent you a little link to this. Honestly, I haven't had much time to read it at all. But we know that Donald Glover is Lando, was Lando, has been Lando. And there was this talk of him doing this Lando series in the future at Disney Plus, and it's been going on for a while now. Well, in the midst of this strike, we do get a little bit of news, and that news is coming to us from Variety, that it appears that Donald Glover's Star Wars series Lando is now a movie. Interesting. Let's read a little bit of this. News broke in July that Donald and Stephen Glover had been tapped by Disney and Lucasfilm to replace Justin Simien as writers for the new Lando television series on Disney Plus. But not so fast. The project is actually being developed as a Lando movie. Lucasfilm confirmed to Variety Glover has debuted as young Lando Calrissian in the 2017 film, which I've still yet to see, Solo, which was a notable box office disappointment for Disney and Lucasfilm. And not just that, but it didn't get the greatest reviews, right? So let's see if we have any. Okay, this is past stuff, so no more. Okay, all right, good reporting, Variety. Hey, news is there's a Lando movie now instead of a series. Not any information where you got this or whatever. All right, cool. Well, interesting. I feel like this was kind of a must because right now, what the fuck is Star Wars doing cinematically? Like, absolutely nothing. And we're talking about arguably outside of really the Avengers, and I guess maybe you could argue Avatar now. We're talking about one of the biggest franchises of all time, if not the biggest, Star Wars. And, I mean, when was that horrendous piece of dog shit that they put out as a movie last? What was that? 29 Rise of Trash? What was that?
Trash Walker.
Trash Walker?
When
was
before
that?
COVID.
So 2019.
Yeah, it was 2019.
Okay, sure. So it's been 2021. We're coming up a half of a fucking decade, and still no Star Wars movie even really in sight. I mean, we had word the Taika Waititi Star Wars movie that we could have done a topic about this, but we recently just got news about in the past couple of days that hasn't even been written. There's no movement on it at all. So, and then there was that Kevin Feige Star Wars movie, and then he backed out. And then there was that Patty Jenkins Star Wars movie, Rogue Squadron. She backed out. So I guess this was a must do for Disney, right? Because you got to put Star Wars something out there, because most likely it makes like $400 or $500 million, even if that means it loses money. And so maybe you try to make it a lot cheaper. I don't know. Make a $50 million movie, bank $400 million. I don't know. I love Donald Glover, and I really love Star Wars, but I got to be honest with you. I still haven't seen Solo. It's like the one Star Wars film that I have not seen, and I probably won't watch it anytime soon, and this doesn't really excite me. Honestly, I feel like I would have been more excited for a Lando show, to be honest with you. But, Trevor, you're hearing this news. I think you've seen Solo.
I have.
So you have maybe a little bit more insight. What are your thoughts on Donald Glover's Solo series being turned into Donald Glover's Solo movie?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, I'm glad to hear some movement on this project happening. I do love Donald Glover. He's one of my inspirations personally. I'm a musician and an actor, and he just kind of does all his own stuff, and I just love that. I love that he's kind of made his own way. So I love the dude. I also love it when he steps on screen, because I think he's great. He plays Lando Calrissian like perfectly. I enjoyed Solo. I feel like Solo for me was a lot like Captain America 1. It was like, okay, if you could give me a few more of these, or like a little better, like I'm on board now, Disney. Like in the same way, I felt very, very similar-ish to Rogue One, but like a little less than Rogue One. Because Rogue One was like, again, it was like a really cool story, kept my interest all the way through, had a great Darth Vader scene at the end, but it wasn't like groundbreaking or out of this world or anything like that, which I think a lot of us want Star Wars to at least have something on their menu that is doing that. Like, say what you will about the prequels, but the story they told and the boundaries they pushed visually were like astounding, and then I don't need to talk about the original series. But I mean, they need something, man. I mean, good God. I don't know if, I wouldn't have necessarily thought Ahsoka would be the thing that started to help turn around the show universe, but that was wrong. So I mean, maybe our buddy Donald Glover will be the thing that actually turns around the movies. They're looking, and I think, and I hate to say this, because I respect Kathleen Kennedy as a producer, as a professional, but I think she's kind of out of touch with what the audience wants. I think she sees us, the younger audience, as like this blanket statement of like moral, what's the word? Moral projection, and she doesn't, and that's not what we are. And so I think she's trying to give us what she thinks we want, and she's wrong. And I think it's time for her to be replaced and for a different mind to be brought in to make that. But we'll see if that ever happens.
So what I'm hearing is you don't think she could do the job because she's a woman?
No, she's one of the great producers, man.
She is, but she's been in this role too
long. She's Vince McMahon'd out, bro.
It's just falling flat. I mean, in the beginning, she had a nice little run, right?
I mean, dude, don't forget, she produced Back to the Future. She produced.
Even in the beginning of Star Wars.
Yes,
she had the first couple did really, really well.
A few missteps though, and it's become clear that she's just not in touch with what we want.
No, the greatest thing that Kathleen Kennedy did for Star Wars, which we will forever love her for, but is the only really great thing she ever done, was hire Jon Favreau to make a show called The Mandalorian. That was the greatest thing she ever did.
Second, Dave Filoni to make a show called Ahsoka.
Well, we'll get into that. But guys, what are your guys' thoughts about this Donald Glover Solo series being turned into a movie? Do you guys care? Do you love it? You hate it? Definitely let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. All right, with that down, we are going to jump into our second main topic today. And our second main topic today is this. So, Trevor, we were just talking again about One Piece. You finally finished it. You finally know Sanji's story. What do you think about Sanji? You love him?
Dude,
Is
what
he-
a fun character.
Right. I
What-
love them all, man. They're so hard. Now that you know them all, like I said, they really built those characters, didn't they?
sure did.
Like they gave you enough for every one of them that you're like, God damn it.
Right. I'm both scared of them and love them and respect them and also kind of laugh at them because they're also dorks.
Well,
You know, they're great.
in breaking news, One Piece has just been renewed for season 2 at Netflix. Let's read a little bit of this. Netflix has picked up a second season of One Piece, its hit live action adaptation. The announcement was made via social media. Here's the announcement here. To the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, that be us. What did you think of season 1 of the live action One Piece? I spent a long time working on it with Netflix and Tomorrow Studios. It seems people around the world have been enjoying the show, which makes the hard work from the production team truly worth it. Before adding, he says, 2 weeks after the launch, I just received some great news. Netflix has decided to renew the show. The adventures of the Straw Hat crew will continue onward. This is awesome news. Again, we were talking about this last week on the show. Guys, if you haven't checked out One Piece live action on Netflix, please do. This show is great. It's wonderful. It's only like 8 episodes. You can burn through it quickly if you fall in love with it the way that you probably will. So definitely go check it out. It's clearly, I seen that they had hopes for like a 12-season arc or some ridiculous shit with like a minimum of 6 seasons. So, man, I hope it works out for them. You know, there's like 48,000 episodes of One Piece, the animated series. So, hopefully it doesn't go that far. That kid's going to be like recasted 67 times. But yeah, Trevor, you're hearing this news. What are your thoughts on our old buddy One Piece getting renewed for a season 2 already?
I mean, it's all thumbs up over here, man. All the characters in there are fantastic. The story they've set up, the world is like, it's so rich and strange, and everyone committed to it, you know? And so as a result, like, I won't say it's for everybody. I don't think One Piece is probably for everybody. I think there's some people who are going to think it's ridiculous. But if you watch that first episode and you start to crack a smile by the end of it because of the natural charm that the guy who plays Luffy has and the way that they all kind of work together, because they all give like tremendous performances for what it is. And if that doesn't catch you, don't watch it. But if it does catch you, it just gets better and better. And the first season really puts together his whole crew and lets you really get to know each one of these people, lets you know some of like the backstories of some of the other characters. So you're really like every angle that things are happening, every time a character's coming in, you're feeling the weight of that person. You're feeling the fact that they've had a life and they've had choices and that they've had like passions and stuff. So like you feel it and you don't want the bad things to happen to them because you've seen that. So I'm stoked to see where this little group that they've set up so proficiently in the first goes to try and get that One Piece treasure.
Yeah, and I did see that it is already out of the #1 slot on shows, which is kind of surprising because, you know, I said it was in that upper echelon of Stranger Things and Sandman, but if you remember, Sandman was like 12 weeks, bro. Like it was like at least like it was like 10 or 12. I remember being double digits. It was like something we talked about
That's true.
because it was so many. And then Stranger Things would be like 20.
Yeah.
It'd be like 20 weeks after the new season of that comes out. I was a little surprised to see it out of the #1 slot so soon. I mean, it was still 2 or 3, but the #1 was like, I don't even know, like River Cabin or some shit. What? No. Get out of here. What are we doing, Netflix? But guys, what are you guys' thoughts? Have you seen the first season yet? Definitely let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. All right, with that down, we're going to jump into our third main topic today. And our third main topic today is this. So, a couple years ago, or 2019 as well, I guess, so a few years ago now, we had, speaking of Stranger Things as well, we had David Harbour's Hellboy movie. Trevor, you ever get a chance to see David Harbour's Hellboy?
I did not.
What about trailers?
I saw a couple of the trailers. I was kind of interested in it, and then I just did not hear anything good about it.
Okay. I believe that movie made, like, in totality in the box office, like $15 million. Oh, geez. Yeah.
That's rough.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it was like $100 and some million to make the movie. But here's what I'm going to say. Terrible movie. But a fun watch. I mean, definitely worth a watch if you love Hellboy. Get you back in that world. Get you a little taste of it. David Harbour is great. You know, it suffers from a lot of things, mainly like a lot of CG messiness and very, very bad writing. But we did have those, what's his name? Ron Perlman, right? We had the Ron Perlman Hellboy in 2004. Yep, and then he did the sequel, too, in 2008, I believe. And recently, Perlman did an interview where he said that he wants to do a trilogy, and he wants to finish out that character arc in a third movie, and that he would only do it if Guillermo would direct it again, which is totally understandable and all that. And man, Ron's like 80.
He's not 80, he's like 65.
He's in his 70s.
Is he really?
Yeah, I mean, look it up. Look it up and see how old he is. I'm pretty sure he's like 74 at least.
I think maybe
all I know is he's probably just like in that same thing Robert Englund is, too old to play Freddy Krueger because of how much you actually have to jump around and do shit as Freddy Krueger. I don't
73
think
years
73 years old is Ron Perlman. So I don't think he can do that. As much as he wants to, I just don't think he has the physicality to play that role anymore. There's just a lot to it. But I would love to see it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I would totally be down. And recently we just got this news that, you know, a new studio had acquired this other movie / maybe series thing. I can't remember the name of it. I didn't even bring up an article about it because no one really cares. But I care a little bit. And I just wanted to pose the question to you, Trevor, and to, you know, you guys watching, is how much do you like Hellboy? How much did you like those original movies? Did you see that David Harbour one? And would you see another one? Because it seems like this franchise is dead. So to me, it seems like a stretch to even acquire the rights to this franchise. Like, especially after the David Harbour one. I don't know. But again, I really did like those first two movies. Trevor, what do you think? Like, is Hellboy dead? Could it be successful? Like, would a Guillermo and Ron Perlman Hellboy 3, like, would that bring people out, do you think? Or is this just too late?
I mean, I think the idea of it would, but could they pull it off is another question, because there's a lot of things standing in the way of that kind of happening, which is the first two movies, really, really cool movies. And more than that, they feel like a setup for like a masterpiece third one. Like that it was setting up and building into something that would have been like truly spectacular. And from the sounds of it, Guillermo was like, look, man, like I can't make this for less than this amount of money.
Fact.
Like I cannot, and I will not.
Nope.
I'm not going to do it.
Because the third one was supposed to be this, like, huge epic thing. So he knew, and then, like, second one had already cost, like, $120 million.
Right.
And he told them he would need double that.
Right.
So he needed, like, a $240 million budget, which didn't even happen until, like, what's the one? Ultron, Age of Ultron.
Right.
Like, you know, I mean, that was, like, 10 years even later. There was no way it was going to happen. And you're right. He did say, if you can't, then I can't make it, because I refuse to give a half-assed version of this badass movie that I want to make.
Exactly. And so you have that, and I agree with him on that. I think if you can't make the movie that you know that you need to make, then you don't make that freaking movie. Don't waste people's time. But so I mean, now maybe, you know, Dune got a $300 million budget, so, you know, essentially, so, you know, if that could happen, maybe that hurdle is not impossible to overcome. So if that could happen, the other giant hurdle is, how do you film this movie? I mean, he's in a lot of makeup, so it's not going to be horribly hard to necessarily do a lot of the kind of walking around, talking stuff.
Yeah.
Dude he's always been kind of like a, type of dude anyway, so his physicality hasn't actually changed that much.
Right. It's just that he actually did do a lot of the
right
punching and jumping and
right
stuff.
because of the physical type of dude he is.
Right, exactly.
Right.
I mean,
so
yeah.
I'm just, I don't know if they can
again very similar
right.
situation with Robert Englund. Jason, Michael, you ever see those guys? They very, very slow moving, very methodical. They don't jump out at you like, gotcha, bitch,
Right.
But Freddy's doing that shit. He's running, he's chasing you, he's doing so much. I mean, not only that, like he gets hit, thrown around,
Right.
people kick him,
Right.
like so much shit. And Robert Englund performed all of that shit, man.
Right.
And now we want Freddy back, and we want Robert Englund back because he is Freddy. It's that whole Logan situation.
Right.
And he's like, Robert Englund's even older.
Right.
He's like 78, 80 now, bro.
This,
So,
man.
and even he said, like, when he was like 68, like right after Freddy vs. Jason, which is the last time he reprised the character, he was like, yeah, dude, I'm way too old. Like, I can't be getting thrown around and shit like that no more.
Right.
But I think it's a very similar situation where
I
it
think so.
just may be too little too late, even though we all kind of want it.
We all want it.
Yeah, I mean,
We
all
want to see that third movie.
Yes.
And look,
especially if Guillermo's
if they can
directing
do it, if you hurdle that money thing and so you get some money, some crazy studio to give you the money you need, and you find a way to shoot around it, I want it for sure. But look, and here's what I'll say: if Guillermo decides to make the movie, then I'm in, man, because I know Guillermo is not gonna make anything under
Right.
what he exactly wants to freaking
It gives you that Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4 vibes, that last movie that could have been that if Raimi wanted to make it and it was possible, yes, we want it.
Right.
We definitely want it.
Still.
Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yes, we wanted it 20 years ago, but we still want it now.
Right.
Give it to us, Sam.
Right.
God damn it, Marvel. All right, guys. What are your guys' thoughts on Hellboy? I mean, again, is it dead? Is it alive? Is it too little too late? Do you want to see a Hellboy 3? Maybe you want to see a complete reboot or this new series or story that they're working on? Definitely let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. All right, with that down, we're going to jump into our fourth and final main topic today. And our fourth and final main topic today is this. Guys, just a heads up, if you have not seen episode 5, it's been a couple of days, but if you have not seen episode 5 of Ahsoka, spoiler warning, we're going to be talking heavily about it, mainly because it may be one of the single most greatest Star Wars things that I have ever seen in my entire fucking existence, guys. I've seen a lot of hate, actually. Like, I thought I was going to get online and I was going to see all of these, I don't want to mention names, but I thought I was going to see all these other talking heads talk about how great this series is and this specific episode was. But no, I hear a lot of hate. I hear a lot of negative things. But I tell you what, for me, this was everything and more. Like, I could not have asked for a better episode of Star Wars. Like, this is what I'm a fan for. This is why I watch these shows. This is what I'm hoping for. This is what I want to happen to me. And it did. First off, starting with the highlights, my highlights. Hayden Christensen is amazing, man. Like, it is almost shitty that he does not exist as Anakin or as anything or anyone, because he is so good as that character. And man, you just feel it. So the episode starts with how the last episode ended, where we see that Anakin is there in the world between worlds with Ahsoka, and she asks him, what is he doing here? And he says the most masterful Jedi thing a Jedi could say. He says, I'm here to finish your training, of course. And he does. He does in this beautiful way that's poetic to both characters because Anakin didn't get to see. Like we see, young Ahsoka fighting in the siege of Mandalore. During that, while that was happening, literally while that was happening, he was fighting Obi-Wan. So he didn't get to see Ahsoka really evolve into the woman and the warrior that she is today. And he never got to finish his training. And see, the last episode ended with Balin, or whatever his name is, telling Ahsoka that, she comes from a long history of death and destruction, referring to, Anakin, and it goes on and on and on, right? Palpatine, Vader, what's his name? Dooku, because it started with Yoda, right? And his Padawan was Dooku. That didn't work out. And then it just has trickled down to where Anakin's Padawan, he had kind of become dark before getting to finish her training. And it seems as though she's destined for this path. And that was like, this whole episode was him trying to explain to her, like, yo, it has nothing to do with you. And it had nothing to do with a lot of the scenarios we were in. Like, I went bad, and when I did, you didn't have your training fully finished. So you didn't know how to be a Jedi and how to do the things that you really need to do. And let's be honest, when Anakin went bad, or whatever you want to call it, he didn't even have his training completed, really, right? I mean, he was still a Padawan kind of under Obi-Wan during that third movie, right? So there was a lot to be taught. And we get it all. We get it. But like I said, I like how we get the balance of both of them learning things about each other that they did not know. And Christensen plays it amazingly. Like, there's the scene where, he's trying, it starts out with, what's the lesson? Live or die, and then they fight, there's a lot of homages to the Clone Wars and to Rebels with, the scene between Vader and Ahsoka, that's all kind of replayed out in a way. And then we see all of the stuff with her past and the Clone Wars. And then we come back and Anakin goes, okay, back to square one, live or die. And he ignites his lightsaber again, and this time it ignites red. And when he turns, he has that look, right? Like he looked at Obi-Wan when he reached out and was like, I hate you. His eyes are almost like a reddish, devilish, orangish color. And you see that he is looking at her with death in his eyes, and he literally says to her, time to die. And they fight, and she wins. And the most beautiful thing about the performance of Christensen is that after she wins, he goes like this and like looks down. And as he looks up like this, he has like a little smirk, and his face like turns back to him. Like, it was almost like he turned Vader on with a switch. And like, he was like, I need to use this right now to show her this. And he flipped Vader on. And the moment she learned her lesson, he was like, all right, we don't need that anymore. And like, the way he played it was fucking perfect, man. Like, it literally played out on screen in his face, in his mannerisms, the way, like, man, I'm telling you, I loved his performance. It really is the highlight of the whole thing for me. But there is so much things in this from top to bottom to love. It's just too much for me to even, like, remember everything. There's so much. But to me, the standout really was just not only seeing Hayden Christensen, but seeing this evolution between these two characters that we really never got to see, like, finish up. And then we get this ending where, we get this Gandalf moment, right? Where she was the gray, she fell, she rises again, and she's the white. She's now Ahsoka the White, or Gandalf the White, or whatever you want to call her or him, whatever. And that is kind of what we get. And she's now, I don't know if you noticed either, but Rosario Dawson also amazing.
Yeah.
But in the last few minutes, like when they're in the well, right? And Hu Young's like, how do we know it's gonna take us there? And she's like, she smiles and just kicks back, and she's like, shit, we'll see where it takes us.
Better than nowhere.
And that's right, and that is the evolution. Like, that is the training complete. Like, she is a Jedi now. Like, she was so in that, like, man, I love this fucking episode. She was so much like Anakin. Like, in that cold, you know what I'm talking about? Like, she was very cold and not there like Anakin was.
Bitter, like a soldier.
Right, but now she's more like Luke. Like, she sees that, well, you know, again, it depends on what Luke, but you know what I mean. Like, young Luke. She sees the other side. She sees that there's hope. She sees that this can be done. And because of that, like, it's changed her, and again, her performance really, really shows it. Like, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Honestly, everything about it was great. The stuff, even when they're like searching the ocean, and the kid's like, just quiet and listen, and you can literally hear the lightsabers crashing underneath, you know, the ocean. Like, even just the little stuff like that, I thought was really awesome. I thought the world between worlds looked amazing. I loved, again, the little stuff like when he cut the bridge and the bridge falls out, she falls all the way down, hits the smoke. She's in the Clone Wars. She's a little girl now. There's a lot of discussion to be had about, is that really Anakin? Is it like a Force ghost? Is it like her memory of him? Is it like this thing that only kind of happens in the world between worlds, or is it like, you know, because what we have at the end is we find out that she's kind of been literally floating there in the water drowning. So is it a hallucination? There's just like so many questions. But I just want to say, in my opinion on that particular part, there's no doubt in my mind that was Anakin Skywalker. Like, however you want to chop it up, like, I don't care. You call it as Force Ghost, you call it as whatever, but wherever that thing that he can project his Force Ghost at, he was doing it right then. He was there to help. He had an opportunity to help finish her training, and he used it, because Anakin's a great person who can now do those things, as we've seen in the end of, you know, Return of the Jedi and
That's
stuff. Now,
so important about what he's training her.
Right, exactly. And we see, again, it's a through and through thing, man. Like, it really is. It is the ultimate of storytelling in this world. And seriously, more than that, it ends, and I literally am saying to myself, like, you know what? Whoever fucking directed that episode, that's our guy. And it pops up. Dave Filoni. God damn it, Dave Filoni. God damn you, Dave Filoni. Jesus Christ, man. Of course it was Dave Filoni. Yeah. It was so Rebels. It was so Clone Wars. There were so many homages. There were so many. It was literally a love letter to all things Dave Filoni. And it couldn't have been done better. Right. It literally couldn't have been done better. And all it really left me wanting was, besides more Ahsoka, is more Anakin Skywalker somehow. Let's remake the prequels. I don't know what we're doing. But Hayden Christensen's just got nothing going on, guys.
Apparently, neither does the Star Wars movie universe.
And so, yeah, I don't know. I loved it, man.
Work out,
like, I seen a lot of the hate, you know, online. Trevor, was about. It was a lot of it was directed at Christensen and this character and all this shit. And it's like, man, I don't care what
did
you
they
guys
say at all bad about him.
I don't want to get into all of it, but you know, I think people hate those movies. They hate the prequels, you know.
So they just like, they won't let go of it.
Well, like, they feel really, like they can't let go of it, you know, and.
They're there.
Right, yeah, and they're able to be used, you know.
Right, they can be made better like this.
James Earl Jones is 1,040, so we can't keep doing that. But we can do this, and again, the dude's got nothing going on.
There's
Throw him
all
a fucking bone, and he's so great.
Right, God.
Look at how great he is. I don't care how much you hate him. He killed that shit.
Right.
Again, that ending part where after she beats him, she's like, I choose to live. He looks up. You can see his whole face change. Like, he literally goes from Vader back to Anakin.
Right.
And he's like, good choice, Snips. And like it's just so good. It's so good.
Chills.
Trevor, I know you've been waiting all day to talk about it. What are your thoughts on this beautiful episode of Star Wars?
Man, there's a lot, but I'm gonna try and say it in the most succinct way I possibly can. There was a promise that was kind of almost made when Disney bought Star Wars. It was like, we're gonna take Star Wars, this thing that you love, and we're going to wrench it into the modern universe of like the right good technology, new ideas, the modern kind of sensibility of filmmaking. We're gonna make Star Wars again, and that was the promise when they bought Star Wars. And Force Awakens, the reaction and the reception of it, the crazy lines and things like that, that came off of that promise. And that first movie kind of like delivered on the promise a little bit. It at least gave you more of the promise. You're like, oh, okay, they can do this, man. You know, now from there, their movies failed abysmally, in my opinion. You know, they just, there's just no sense of direction, and it doesn't, I don't feel that it tells a great story. Like, I've seen those movies, and I don't remember almost anything from them because there's just not anything truly like spectacular holding the whole thing together. You know, the characters aren't very interesting. They don't, specifically Rey, she's just like I mean, there's that guy, the Critical Trinky, calls them the strong female characters, right? And I am a large proponent for strong women in this world. But what I'm talking about here is it's like a very specific type of exact character that they put over and over again, and it's boring and it's insulting in a lot of ways to both sides of the spectrum. And it's just like, get this person off the screen.
Yeah, it just goes to show you that it's not about that. It's about doing it right.
Right,
because
exactly.
this is that.
Exactly. Right, and so I think they got mired in not really being sure how to do it. And then you know, we got a couple others, and then we got Mandalorian. And Mandalorian has all of the excellence that I wanted from Star Wars, and I mean, it's non-CGI most of the time. It's like real effects, which was my biggest complaint of the Clone Wars movies, or the prequels, is that it's just all CGI, so it just doesn't really hit you with that same kind of real impact, right? So, but Mandalorian brought all that back, had a great story. I mean, it just started to get there, but I will say, even with Mando, it's like it's missing the element of starring a Jedi, right? Because Jedis are the coolest thing ever. Right. It's why we love Star Wars.
They even had to bring in a saber.
Right, they had to.
They had to. You know, that's like half of what a Jedi is.
Yeah.
It's a lightsaber, right?
Yeah, but we've always wanted. It's the same thing as like when they gave us Detective Pikachu instead of the regular Pikachu. So the regular Pokemon for the first movie, you know, it took them forever. And I would have never guessed that Ashoka would be the one that finally achieved the promise of the original buyout of Star Wars. But damn, it has. I mean, the first 4 episodes of this thing had my interest all the way. Great, like really, really good episodes, building me towards like this ultimate where we're at now, and getting me interested, building these interesting characters. Ahsoka, again, I was talking about the strong female character. She's not that. She's a strong woman who's a character, and she has really hard edges because her most trusted mentor became the most evil man in the universe.
Yeah, and good point that you bring that up, because the truth is what really kept her, what made her cold in that way that she was the guilt that she carried, right? She carried this guilt thinking, because she left him. So part of her always thinks like, damn, maybe if I had stuck around, like, things could have been different, you know? Right. And she's probably not wrong in a way, too. Right. So I think a lot of it, and you see that in this
exactly.
episode. And they do it well by showing her as a little girl and all these things. You know, when they first show her, she's completely different. When they show her as a teenager, she's already kind of that cold Ahsoka already. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And yeah, it really just shows you that a lot of the struggles that she had came from the guilt that she carried that he did become Vader.
Right.
That she might have been
Right.
able to somehow keep that from happening because she doesn't know Darth Vader.
Right.
She just doesn't, and she just knows of it.
Right. She knows Anakin.
Right, and
Well,
and we know Anakin.
Right. And she's like, how is these two people
boy.
become this, right? Well, and that's what's so
And
and
if he can, then I can.
right, exactly. And that's this whole thing that we watched, this amazing visual metaphor and visualization of what happened. Of her getting to it's called Shadow Warrior. It's her diving into her own shadow and asking herself these really tough questions of like, should I be to blame for this? And it answers in a really interesting way, saying a little bit, yeah. But guess what? But and this is I'm getting chills just even talking about it. But then as they moved, like they have this regular fight, and it's just her and Anakin. You know, it's loving. You know, and then he's like, okay, you're not getting it. We're going to have to get it a little harder here. And so he chops the floor out from underneath her and she drops. She falls further into the shadow. She falls further into the darker parts of herself. Right. And we take this journey to where we get to like see visually her like having to go through these moments and like having it kind of develop her into this person and of being hampered by both that regret and that fear of like, well, if he chose me, I was if we were universe paired together, then obviously that means I'm just going to repeat his same thing. Exactly. But at the end, that's what he's always trying to show her.
That's his whole point.
Right. Is not just keep living, because that's the mistake he made. And what's even cooler is that he's like, you're missing the point because I went through all of that. Why would the universe make you go through it too? Learn from me.
Yeah, it's
Learn
almost
my mistakes. I'm in you.
I hate to do this, but it's almost a Jesus thing, right? It's the I died on the cross for your sins, bitch.
Right.
You don't have to do these things.
Right.
Like I brought balance. I did it. I restored.
Was the chosen
yes. One. And now you can be free. Literally, you have to understand that everything that was supposed to happen happened the way it was supposed to.
Right. That's what.
So you did good, sweetie. You did. You know, he sees her almost as his like young,
right,
sister,
his little sister.
Right, and he's like, girl, we did it. Like,
right.
I'm happy. Look at me.
Right.
I'm not Vader. I'm not Vader.
No, I'm Anakin again.
That's right.
At the end of the day, I came back.
At the end of the day,
I went through it all and I'm back.
am good me.
Right.
I'm here to. I'm so good me. I'm here to finish your trading, Snips.
Right.
You know, he still calls her by her nickname. It's so endearing. You really feel the relationship between these two characters.
Right.
Like, you can
Years
feel
of
it, man.
Yeah.
You can feel it, and it's fucking awesome, bro.
Right.
Like, the way that that he speaks to her, the way, like you said, even the dueling, it's very, on his part, it's very loving. Right. It's very teaching, and I love that because we never really got to see something on this level of Jedi training.
Right.
Like, this is like the end.
Right.
This is the grade of the white. You know what I mean? Like, this is the completion. This is what Luke went to go to Dagobah for, was to try to finish what she did here today.
Right.
And now that she is, because remember, in Clone Wars or in Rebels, and I know you didn't see this, but when she hunts down Vader or whatever to kill him because he killed Anakin. Right. He turns and he's like, "What are you doing here?" or whatever, and she's like, "I'm here to kill you, and I'm here to get revenge for my master." And Vader's like, "Revenge is not the Jedi way." Oh. And Ahsoka looks at him and goes, "I am no Jedi," and that has been like the theme of her since then, is that she isn't a Jedi. She's like such a rogue. She's like a completely...
She's a free agent.
Yes. Right? Like, we have no idea even what she is, where she's been, what she's been doing. Like, none of that shit. But now, she's a Jedi. Like, today, she's a Jedi. And I think that will transform this character. It has already. We've seen it in the last, like, 5 or 10 minutes that it's already transformed this character.
Right. She came back, and she's got that little glint that Christensen gave in his eye. Yes. That essence, that spirit went into, like I said, Rosario Dawson's performance.
It really reminds me of Luke. That look that that it can all be done. Right. Like, and it's all gonna be all right kind of thing, you know? That's the hope, you know, the new hope, you know? Like, she sees it now. She sees that. See, because, again, she thought the way that it was wrong. But he made her see that, no, that was exactly... Like, it is we're on the right road. Just keep driving forward, girl.
Right.
And now that she sees it, she's letting go of the wheel, bro.
Right.
Like, and that's what that last scene is, right? Where Hu Yang's like, wait,
where
we going? She's like, well, shit, we'll see where we're going, player. Right. Like, that is letting go of the wheel, bro. She's let go, and like, you feel that, like, you feel for her that she's happier. Like, you can feel that she's doing better.
And that's like Rosario Dawson.
And that the next part of this, and that one of the most important parts is that, and you know, we see it as she's waking up, as they're discovering her body floating to the top. We hear a whisper that goes, Ashoka. And that clearly is Sabine. And Sabine is her...
Right, her Padawan.
Right. And now she has the tools, because that's part of what this whole series has been about, is that Sabine never has really got to have any training, and it's partly because Ahsoka never finished her goddamn training, but now she has, and now she has this different thing about her where she didn't even really want to teach Sabine, right? Because, again, she feared the thing. She feared the cycle continuing, and that Sabine ends up Vader or whatever.
Right. Which, you know, they explore in there as well.
But now she understands that all is as it should be. And like I said, now her true destiny will come forth, which is training Sabine to also be a Jedi. Because, again, there's very few of these things that exist, guys. Now that we know Ahsoka's there, when Luke... You know, there's Ezra, maybe, if we find him. So we got like 4 or 5 Jedis, you know. Right. Whatever Balin is or whatever, I don't know. But there's not a lot of these people. And that's like why Luke went and took Grogu, right? Was because, hey, it's just me basically up here.
Right.
Let me teach some shit that's Force capable, how to wield the fucking Force, you know. And I think that again, I really think this is a stellar episode, man. Like, shout out to Dave Filoni and the whole crew. Like, it really, really was, if not the best episode of Star Wars I've ever seen. Like, I would rewatch this, like, just to do it. Right. Like, there's so much to it, man. There's so much to it. And again, the performances are amazing. Like, and to see, you know, people can hate on those prequels as much as they want, Trevor. And you and I both know that 2 of the 3 at least are overall bad movies. But we love those movies, man. And we would watch. To me, I know this is going to sound crazy, but they're like the Lord of the Rings for me. They're a trilogy that I'll always watch forever. Like, they always will be in a part of my heart. A part of me will always crave to want to see and remember those movies.
Right.
Because
the story told, even though the kind of way we got there wasn't perfect, the story told in those movies is amazing.
Well, not only that, it's just it was our Star Wars.
Right.
It was our
right, and as
trilogy,
a kid, I
you know?
Because the problems with those movies, it's not necessarily the story mechanics. It's more kind of like just some cheesy dialogue. Like, it's really not the story itself.
It's a big problem with
right?
the movie.
Right. It's and the dialogue, and then the other big thing, and this is the last really point that I have that points to this is Hayden Christensen is a perfect example of it also had bad directing, like actor directing. Not only was the dialogue not great, like George Lucas would have these ridiculous ideas that he'd try and force his actors to do.
Right.
Like with Christensen got to play Anakin here, how he always kind of thought, and I agree how he should have played Anakin here.
Yeah.
With some emotion, with some feeling, with some
like
humanity.
a person.
Yes. Whereas
like a real thing
George
that
Lucas
exists.
literally would tell him over and over again, I need you to speak like a robot.
Right.
And he's
you
like,
are a robot.
He's like, but I'm not a robot yet.
No.
Like, and again, and I'm like, and I mean, we've said this a lot where it's, you know, I think some of the greatest moments in George Lucas's career are when someone said no to him, like didn't let him go all the way, you know?
Right.
And so I think that in that case, you just have some times
even
when
something like, you know, casting at the time, one of the most loud, boisterous, opinionated actors on screen in the history of cinema, fucking Samuel Jackson,
right,
who is like widely known as this like loud, you know, sick and tired of these motherfucking snake. You know, this is how we know the dude. And like, you get him in this role where like, and don't get me wrong, I love me some Mace Windu.
Right.
Like, love me some Mace Windu. Like, really love me some Mace Windu.
Too.
But it just was unfitting, like, to cast that actor in that role. Like, it's just a weird decision. It really is what it was. Honestly, it worked out okay to me, but I see why a lot of people didn't like that choice, you know? And you know, the greatest thing, and I know that a lot of the other complaints people have is casting, what's his name? Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon. A lot of people, this was like a dream casting for people, and then he dies in the first, like, you know.
Right, fair.
So people, I know, hated that. And then those same people hated Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan in the first movie. But then when the second movie came, all those people realized, oh, wait, the greatest thing about any of this shit is Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Absolutely it is, dude. I would just take a compilation of Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan over and over again, bro.
Yeah,
I love him.
He is, like, you know, there's those things where very few times where this happens, but he is Obi-Wan.
Right.
Like, you know, I love McGinnis, but he is Obi-Wan. He really is. Like, he embodies that. See, because when we meet Obi-Wan, when McGinnis plays him, he's so old and done being Obi-Wan. But when we meet him...
He's Ben Kenobi.
Right. Good point. But when we first meet him, like in The Phantom Menace, you know, he's that kind of young... happy-go-lucky, you'll go for it all.
I'm gonna mess some shit up.
2, we get this kind of balance in the middle between what he's gonna be in 3 and what he is in 1. Right. And then in 3, we get like, how is that dude not the one?
Right.
Like, what? What do you mean?
Wizard.
Like, not only that, I mean, he's just the greatest person that ever lived.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
he's all of our protector. If any of us had children and needed someone to watch it from a distance, that's your guy.
Right.
Like, you
Every
wouldn't
time.
pick Luke. You wouldn't pick nobody.
Wouldn't be picking Anakin, that's for damn sure.
You'd pick Obi-Wan or old Ben Kenobi, as we know him. Because, again, this guy, he's
a badass,
he's
but
full of
moral,
morals.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, he lives by a code. I mean, he lives by that Jedi code, but he's also he is above it, you know, in a different way, especially after all of the things happen. And yeah, I mean, that third movie, his performance in it really, like I said, solidified the fact that, you know, the one redeeming quality of all 3 of those movies ends up being his Obi-Wan character is just so good. And Hayden Christensen does not, like as you pointed out, does not get the chance to chop like he did in this. Right. You know, he plays this, man, I mean, it's almost silly kind of the character that he plays. And I understand what they're trying to do because I get what they're trying to create. But I know a lot of people hate that about the prequels, you know, that your star is this fucking unlikable character. And I said this about Ahsoka going into it, that I don't know if you can have a Jedi as the star of a movie or a series, really. Like a real Jedi. Like Luke worked because Luke wasn't a Jedi.
Right.
But look at Luke in like The Mandalorian.
Right.
You don't want a show about that dude.
Right.
He doesn't even talk.
Right.
Like he barely
It'd be like
speaks,
having a
bro.
show about like a straight up priest. You're like,
right, yeah, you don't want to
'cause that's
watch
what
that
they are.
shit. Right.
They're priests that
exactly,
every
of
once in
religion,
a while
right.
go take some other truckers down.
Right,
you know?
or train someone else to be a priest too.
Right,
like, that's
exactly.
their whole thing, and like
That's like
and they're
90% of being a
they're
Jedi.
very stoic. They're very emotionless. Like
Right.
all of those things, and to have that as your lead character is really difficult.
Right.
And the prequels were the epitome of that with Hayden Christensen's
Right.
Anakin. Like it really was.
Well,
Even
and
as
not-
a fan, even we were like, oh my god, like we want to like this dude a little bit. Like,
Well,
like
I
that
mean,
should have been the
the
whole
whole
point.
cast.
Is that you really like him, and
Right.
then you're it's like, ah
Right.
shit, man, that dude that I like wanted to see win. Just turned into Darth Vader, bro.
Which you get the smallest microcosm of
Yes.
in this.
Yes.
And in the and it's like and you said you're like what it made me want anything. It's like I don't know how we do it. Like I don't necessarily need everyone to come back, but if we just could like reshoot certain moments to like get all of like Hayden Christensen stuff like reshot. And also, we just like replace all of the giant CGI moments with the little clone dudes.
Right.
We just do that,
Or
and then
maybe we
re-release
find
them.
out that there's like an afterlife where all these Force ghosts are. That maybe like we just get a whole story in Force Ghost Land. I don't know,
Be
but
okay
give
with
me
that.
more
Ewan
Hayden
McGregor,
Christensen.
Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, all of those things.
Come on.
Rosario Dawson at this
Honestly,
point.
Even
Give me more Star Wars that's good, man. How about that?
you know
Just-
what? I'll take more Samuel L. Jackson. I want more of that
Yeah.
too.
Hey, listen, Jedi.
You write it good, I'm in.
Throughout the history of time, numerous Jedis have fallen from greater lengths and lived. So, for all I know, Windu is out there. I mean, he's only got one arm, or he's got the old, Terminator deal going on. But he's still, I mean, he's alive. And
When the Order 66
Samuel Jackson would
happened
love to
pretty
do
quick
that.
after that too. So I mean, like,
right, but
you know.
he was probably in hiding immediately.
Right.
Like, I mean, he knew that Order 66 was happening. Like, that was what that whole thing was. And then they cut his hands off and kick him out the window. If he lived that, he had to know that the Order had fallen.
Right.
Like that, there was nothing.
Right,
I mean,
because
they just
he's
beat
the-
Mace Windu,
he's the
motherfucker.
best.
Right?
He's the best.
They beat the greatest dude. Like, he's the leader of, what do they call him?
oh god, I can't remember.
The group,
Yeah, I know
the
what you're talking
Illuminati of Star Wars.
Right. The inner circle.
Yes, he's the fucking leader. Yoda picked him.
Right.
Yoda was like, you know what?
Of all of the Jedis
That's
in
the
all of
baddest
the
motherfucker.
galaxy.
right? Exactly. And yeah, so if he would have lived that fall, he would have immediately went into hiding. Like, he would have known, sadly, even though as great as he is, he would know that him being defeated and not having an arm meant that no one could defeat Anakin and Palpatine at that point.
Right.
Like, and luckily, he did kind of get defeated, thanks to, again, our old buddy and pal, our real Tony Stark, Obi-Wan Kenobi. But guys, all right, we've talked enough about this episode of Ahsoka. It really was a good episode, guys. If you haven't seen it, please go check this show out. Like, it really is good. It's just getting better. Hopefully it sticks the landing, but I will say this, Trevor. If it doesn't, if for some reason, for some way, this show fizzles out, it's leading to bringing in the greatest villain ever penciled in Star Wars history in Grand Admiral Thrawn, outside of course, Darth Vader. And so you would think, like, it can only get better, right? And I believe that. I really do. I'm wholeheartedly in. But all I want to say is this. If somehow it doesn't, this does not change this episode. Like, this episode could be a standalone short film that could exist, and I will always love this moment. Like, it really is that good. Because, again, I have a lot of attachment to those prequel movies, to Hayden Christensen, to Clone Wars, to their relationship. And, again, it was really a closing of the door to all of those things. We got to see, because she had that fight with Vader where he actually won. But now she gets her kind of revenge fight where she wins. So, but then we also get the closure between the two of them as Padawan and Master, as brother and sister. Like, there's just so much closure to it too. I really just love it, man. Like I love it. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. If you have, definitely let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. All right, with that down, we are all out of main topics today. So, yeah, let's see. I am going to see, what was it? There was something coming out. This week, I think I'm going to see, finally, not going to see, like going out, but like going to see it, the Seth Rogen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
Okay.
So, if you're able to check it out, you definitely should. And we should do like a little review on that probably next week. So we'll try to be here next week on Thursday again or somewhere around this time and do another show. Hopefully there's more to talk about. We'll at least always be able to talk about Ahsoka. So that's always there. And then soon, Loki season 2 is coming out. So we'll have lots of Loki to talk about. I've been going back and actually rewatching some of it too. So, and really been enjoying myself. I forget how good in the beginning specifically, like that show really starts out. Like it's a very good show. Like I remember why I thought after 2 episodes, I was like, you know what, this might end up being better than WandaVision. Like it really was.
Those first 2 episodes
it really was that good. Yeah, it really is.
The rest of it's not bad though.
No, honestly,
it's still really good.
Honestly, there's only like an episode that I really dislike, and then there's like a quarter of an episode that I'm like, what? And then everything else is great. Right. Like the beginning and the end are amazing. There's just like a spot in the middle for me that's just like,
it does take a little bit of a slowdown.
Yes.
I don't. I personally don't hate that episode. Quickly. I think that episode's important to the overall thing, but I think again, I think it kind of suffers from that same kind of thing where they just were trying to squeeze things into 6 episodes. Yeah. And I'm like, that could have worked in a 10-episode arc, Yeah,
I mean, and on that note, I mean, think about Ahsoka. We'd be looking at 1 more episode.
Right. And you need more.
That wouldn't work, man. That would not. Yeah, we need way more. Like, I mean, we may need 10. Like, I don't know where this is going. Like, that it may just be right, but it feels like we could use 3 or 4 more episodes of this at least.
Well, we got
and 3. We're already at 5.
We got 6, 7. Yeah, we got 3.
So we got 3. So
I think we could do it in
3 or 4 left. Right, that's what I'm saying.
See, now here's my problem though. is if those other shows I always would feel like by the time we get to like episode 5, I'm like, or episode 4, let's say, in these shows, I'd be like, damn, man, like, I feel like like the first couple episodes would start out strong, and then most of them, they'd start to get squished, and then the squishing would get, like, really bad with the last 2, where it's just like, damn, man, like, you needed to let the story breathe. Not a lot more.
Yeah, maybe they like start out breathing too much. You know what I mean? Because those first few episodes are always like, man, we got a lot of room to grow here.
Right, we got time.
And then like, the last 2, you're like even WandaVision was that way. Remember, like, last episode, we were like, how the fuck are they going to pull this off? Like, we knew we were probably not going to like it. We were like, yeah, let's just accept now. There's no way that they can pull this off. But it's been good up to this, Right. And they did, though. Like, it wasn't, like...
the best ending of all time.
Like,
there are a few things like Ralph Boner was a little... that was a little dumb. I'm not going to lie. To this day, I'm still like...
There's a little... Yeah, really, there's some silly... Right. Real? There's some really silly stuff in there. But overall, it ended well,
I thought all the Vision stuff was amazing.
Yeah, right?
It's still a really good ending episode.
Yeah, for
Whereas
sure.
the other ones, most of the rest of them, other than Loki and Miss Marvel... like, really, like, it just, the squishing was bad. Like, it was just like, God, like, thank you for taking all of my intrigue and then kicking me in the balls. Thank you.
Yeah, really like, especially that. Moon Knight.
Yeah, that one's the worst. I'll never forgive
or 2. Oh, my God. You guys are trying to squeeze the whole season into those things.
Yeah, right. Like 2 seasons.
It's really that, I think. It was really that series that really changed it, right? Because then once She-Hulk and and Miss Marvel and some of that stuff coming around, it started coming out with 9 episodes, right? So they started giving us a few more, and even then, like they did it in She-Hulk again. There was a clump in there where like In fact, it did the thing where in the middle is kind of like nothing going on, and then a lot going on at the very end, and so much so that she like breaks through reality onto the screen of Netflix or on Disney Plus or whatever. Right. So like they jam a lot into the end, and I think it was really that teeter-tottered when Daredevil got hit. They were like, yeah, whatever, it was like 18, right?
Right.
They're like, yeah, well, you know what? Let's go full balls to the wall on this thing because whatever we're doing is clearly not working. And it just wasn't. And it wasn't. I mean, Mandalorian gets those 10 or whatever episodes it gets, and like it's perfect every season. Like it is the premier Disney Plus thing. Like it is Stranger Things for them.
Right. Well, and what's crazy to me is, and I don't understand, is like there's no reason why you have to have it be any specific episode length. Like, you have complete control. Why don't you just let the artist make it? Like, what are you doing to, like, why are you purposefully making it 6? Let it be what it is.
Well, it's a budgetary thing, right? These things are fucking expensive to make, and you don't make no money back from them. There's no box office. There's no... I mean, how much She-Hulk merchandise do you think they fucking sold because of that show? Well, not enough to justify really doing that show. Maybe. But, look, even then, that show...
I only buy stuff if it's really cool.
That show even jokes about, how women don't support women.
That generally has seemed to be true.
Like, that's kind of like... She breaks the third wall numerous times to be like...
I will say I've never seen in my entire life a woman wear another woman's like t-shirts. Like
right. Or it's like anything else that, with like the WNBA, I mean, they don't make very much money because you don't go watch the games.
Right.
Where you definitely go watch the dudes play.
Yeah, like, so don't get mad at us, man.
Right.
It's not our responsibility
it's your
to watch
fault.
your league.
You support you, ladies.
Right.
Do it.
Right.
That She-Hulk show was great. Like, it was the most cool, perfect show for women. Like, it was so relatable. I mean, you had the Walk of Shame for Daredevil.
Right, that
like,
was
come
hilarious,
on,
bro.
There was so much good stuff.
That show was a hidden gem, bro.
It really is.
I kind of because it's not like a super memorable show,
and it does
but it's really fun.
It does this even throughout episodes, not just episode to episode, but like in an episode, it'll be like there are moments where it's like, oh, this is really good, funny shit, and then it will like be like, man, what is that? That's silly as shit, right? Like twerking with Megan Thee Stallion and shit. Like,
it's inconsistent as hell, but like it's. I mean,
but
it's also
it was Tatiana Maslany that really carried that series, and she really was the voice of women. Like they even they talked about what. Like when she got the powers, like the capabilities that she now has because she doesn't feel that outside pressure of the fear of living as a woman anymore, right? And when they did, that became this thing, like on social media. I remember even my wife was talking about it amongst other people on social media about if you had the power of She-Hulk, what's the first thing you would do? And I remember reading some of these responses, and of course, as a man, like it's hard to read because you're like, what? Damn, the fuck do you mean? Like I remember, like one my wife brought up, she's like, yeah, this lady said she would go for a walk at night with her headphones on. And as a man again, I'm like, wait, she can't. Oh,
it's just like an average Tuesday?
Yeah, right. She can't. At first, I'm like, wait, why can't she? Oh yeah, she can't do that. And you forget, you really forget. But like I said, the series did a really good job on speaking for women, speaking to women, about the things that they have to deal with on a daily basis and how having these newfound abilities can really change things for this one woman, and she can also break the fourth wall and kind of have like this girl talk with y'all to like do it. Dude, if I was a girl, I would fucking be obsessed with that show, man. Like, I don't even know. Like, I don't know. I'm a dude, and I kind of feel obsessed with it.
Right.
So what do I know,
I feel like she's, like, almost a self-aware joke of the strong female character archetype, where it's like, she actually is so strong that no one will ever be able to mess with her ever. So it's like, it's like she is what these Disney shows keep trying to make, but like she also just like shit talk with the audience with us. Like, she's That show is really funny. Like,
Right. But
not a masterpiece by any means.
But
I'm
definitely
surprised
needs
at
more support from the ladies when they make shows like that, or like Miss Marvel was clearly directed more towards
such a
high
good show.
schooly, sure,
Right.
and I'm sure they got a lot of those viewers. I
Right.
never heard any of those numbers or anything crazy, but
I don't, like,
I
hang
remember
out with any of those.
specifically hearing how not a lot of women were watching She-Hulk. Like that was a thing because the show literally broke the fourth wall to kind of poke fun at it because it's like, wait. This was kind of directed at women. This was like their Marvel show. And yeah, it didn't play out that way, I guess. But again, I thought it was decent. And I think that they have the right themes sometimes for these shows, that they just don't have the execution quite right, and that, or they don't get the time or the money that they need to do these things. I mean, She-Hulk is an expensive series, constantly having to have her as the Hulk. I mean that shit adds up, man. I think it was like $8 million an episode or some shit for them to do that. So we're talking about, you do the math. That's like a $90 million movie, basically.
Right.
And they made nothing back. And they couldn't even get...
they did,
they
but
couldn't
just
even,
not,
right.
like, not in the traditional
Right.
way.
Well, nothing that you could, like...
Calculable.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Grab onto and be like, see, right there.
Right.
Right. And that's my point. And a lot of it they were hoping would be, and this is how we got onto this topic, what was that they would get a lot of that merchandise stuff,
Right.
the ladies specifically would fall. I mean, it totally did work. I bet you this Halloween we see a lot of young girls with Miss Marvel costumes. I bet you we do.
I bet.
Because it did hit, I think,
That
in a
one,
different way.
I
Yes.
remember. I mean, it's, again, I don't hang out in any way with the demographic that was
Right.
aimed at. But I mean, God, dude, if I would have seen that as a kid, I mean, even as like a white boy, like, I would've been
Right.
like, this is
Right.
cool as hell. Like, it is. So I'd imagine, especially as it kind of like lights up some underappreciated races and corners of the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's culturally
awesome.
amazing. Like, it teaches you so much, like, that you didn't know. Like, I mean, I didn't even know about the partition and some of the things that are
right.
talked about in that series, and the things that those people had to actually endure. Like, that's real stuff. And, and I also loved all the fresh faces. I loved seeing all the new people. Like, again, I love Oscar Isaacs just as much as anybody else, but it's cool to get these new faces sometimes. Like,
Right.
it really is.
I was just saying, I was talking to my buddy about, like, I was telling him he should watch One Piece, and he's not an anime person in any way, shape, or form. And he's like, and I was like, and he's like, well, who's in it? And I was like, dude, no one's in it. And he's like, oh man. And he's like, I don't know, man. I'm like, dude, not everything needs a star. He's like, well, I mean, is it just not popular? Why didn't it have anyone in it? I was like, dude, you don't understand. Like, sometimes having a star in something adds a little, like, oh, is that person? Like,
Yeah.
But a show like that, like, sometimes it's just really cool to, like, let your brain not be like, there's a person that I know from the real world, to just be like, these are the characters.
And let me tell you how that works out sometimes. So you take a movie that's pretty much got nobody in it, and what an idea is, and this has always existed in Hollywood. The idea is, let's get one guy that everybody knows. Oh, that guy. And let's cast him in a part that everyone's like, oh, that guy in that part, that's perfect.
Right.
I don't even need to know who's in the rest of them. I'll give you an example. Hey, let's have Willem Dafoe play Ryuk from Death Note.
Right. That's a great example. Great example.
That sentence
Seems
I
like a
just
genius
spoke
idea.
was one of the greatest sentences ever spoke in the history of man.
Right.
However, it was not executed.
No.
But there's no one on the planet that could play that character. He is Ryuk. He's the physical embodiment of the human version of Ryuk. Like, he's a
They actually
scary...
had to rename Ryuk in the show because they didn't want Willem Dafoe to sue them.
Right, no doubt. Ryuk Dafoe. Man. But yeah, and it doesn't always play out that way. So sometimes, and now sometimes that works, you get that guy
perfect
that's kind of the
casting.
anchor, what I
Right.
call it. You know, the
Right.
the
Like-
anchor,
like,
the vet. You know,
Danny
that-
DeVito in Danny DeVito in It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, perfect
you know?
example.
Right.
Right. The vet, the
Yes.
seasoned guy
Yeah.
that can, the captain that can bring them all in and be like, hey, guys, I've been here.
I've seen this
done
round,
this, you know? And that, yeah, so I don't know.
But there's just some shows where it's just like, you don't even want one of those.
No,
Because some
Nope.
shows, the
This
style
is
of
the
it,
perfect example.
yes.
One Piece is a perfect example of it.
I don't
Like,
want, don't you say, I mean, there's
everyone
some
was
people-
perfect.
Right. Don't bring in any stars into this
Honestly,
show.
favorite character, hands down, fucking the clown, bro.
The clown is awesome.
God, I love that
But I
character.
won't lie, bro. I love Luffy.
Monkey? I know, Monkey's so lovable.
There's a lot of shows where, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the main character, but it's very rare that the main character is my favorite. Like,
Yeah, me too.
Like Harry Potter, you
Yeah.
know, fucking like those guys, you know, because he's supposed to be the guy you see things from, you
Right.
know. But man, like Luffy is
Monkey's
a different
great.
kind of character.
Yeah.
Like Luffy, like he just fills you with such positivity. You're like, I'm just gonna go out and make my life happen.
Yeah,
Like,
there's something to be said about perseverance and someone who does not give up. And that is his number one trait. It really is. His number one character trait is not only does he not give up on, being king of the pirates and his journey, but he doesn't give up on his crew and his friends.
Right.
Like
His
those are
loyalty
important
is
things for him.
extreme.
And he man, I don't know. The way his character is just so like, yeah, like
Right.
it's hard not to love him because
Right. Even like when like one of his friends does something like betrays him, and they're sitting over there, it's like, oh, now he's gonna like be pissed.
Right.
He's like, look
it's
me
like,
in the
no,
eyes.
I just need to go talk to her.
Right. I need to
It's
hear
just
her
because
say
we haven't even really seen each other.
I haven't
like,
done to see her say it with her mind's
there's no
eyes.
way she would say that.
Right.
Like once I see her, she's gonna be like, yeah, I'm part of the crew.
Right, and then she says it, and he's still like, let me hear you say it again.
Yeah,
And that's
great.
great. And
Yeah.
he's always right because
Yep.
because dude's got like a real good judge of character
Intuition,
for
yeah,
him,
yeah.
right?
He knows,
Right?
yeah.
And he just has that like absolute faith in the universe. He's like, I'm gonna make it through.
Yes. He's one of those people that know that everything will align for him.
Right.
Like, and he knows that.
He knows
like,
it.
He
Doesn't
believes.
believe it.
It's
He
not.
knows
yeah,
it.
yeah. He believes more so much that he knows that he will be king of the pirates, and that in order to do so, that means that you have this badass crew, and that. And that's why as
Right,
he
and
sees,
you get his shit,
like as soon
you
as
know?
he sees the green hair dude, he's like, yeah, he's part of my crew. Whereas he's like, you're part of his crew? No.
He's like, yeah, he's not.
Yeah, he's not my crew.
And I just
he
love
does that with all of them.
because all of them are like hard edge type people
Right.
with like lots of serious backstory.
Right.
And then this guy's just like, yep, they're part of my
Yeah.
crew, and they're like, no. And then slowly they can't help it. They're like, this guy,
Right.
like I've shown him my hard edges, and
It's
he's
the
still
innocence,
just,
right?
And that's what's great. He's rubber,
Or
so
what-
like
right.
their hard edges just kind of bounce
Or
off.
when
him.
they're shooting on the in episode 6 or whatever, they're shooting at him when they first got their ship, and he turns around and he opens his thing. He's like, "Grandpa." It's so great. It's like, hold on, you didn't know your grandpa was a Marine, motherfucker. Get out of here.
No,
Like,
it's just that like he didn't want to let him.
right, I know.
It's
Right,
so
he's
funny.
embarrassed by it
Right,
in a
it's
way.
like, oh God. In the same way that like a Marine would, it's just
Right.
Well, and that I don't know what that kid's name is.
No.
But that kid is
Very, very much reminiscent of oh girl, I'm gonna forget your name, and I hate that I'm gonna do this, but the girl that plays Miss Marvel.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
shoot.
God. Anyways, yes. It
yeah,
reminds
just
me a lot of
perfect
her,
for
a
it, yeah.
young actor or actress that we've never really seen coming into a role and really fitting into it,
It's just
like
perfect.
Like
Right.
I'll be honest with you, one of the most exciting things I have coming into the Marvels is seeing more Kamala Khan.
Right.
She's just
it.
so good.
Well, no, that's the character's name. Right.
Right.
right. Yeah.
Right, just seeing more it's just it's intriguing to me because
Right.
she's
and to
so
see her
good.
interact with some of the other
She's so
characters.
good. Yes, to
Yeah.
now finally see her get to mingle in this other world.
Right.
Like, yeah, I can't wait for that. Like, but yeah, it's very reminiscent of that. Like of someone I didn't know coming into a part and really killing it.
Yeah.
and so good that, you know, like you want to see him more and other things, you know, like like I started like trying to watch One Piece movies.
Right.
Like animated movies. I'm like, maybe I can, no. Maybe this one, no.
Right.
Because they're not him.
Right.
Like, and he really is that good. Like, he's so good.
It's like, even, like, I'll just, like, see the trailers of, like, the One Piece show. Like, or they'll just play, like, pieces of the episodes, like, when I scroll past it and you, like, let it sit there for a sec. I mean, he, like, is exactly that character.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
like the voice is exactly the same. Like, the way he holds his, I mean, it's just, like, but I gotta say it for the rest, because they are all like that. They're all, like, if you watch their character counterparts, not only do they look a lot like them, they're, like, exact mannerism.
Right.
The girl that plays Yami, dude, like, she's shaped like her. Like, she's shaped like an anime
Or what
character.
about the dude that plays the Marine?
Oh, my God.
Right?
Oh, my God.
Dead like that character, bro.
Both of the Marines. How about the kid with the
the
blonde one?
The son, yeah.
Dude, how did they find a guy that looked like that?
I don't know.
He
You
looks
got me.
exactly like that guy.
You got me, bro. Actually, I think the one that plays the pink-haired one is
He's transgender.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, dude, perfect for it. Like,
Yeah.
it just brings that, like, because that, I mean, I never
It's like a
thought
mix of energy.
Yeah.
Like, and it is that character. It's like a
wanting
feminine,
to, like,
masculine.
it's like something that's being held back by the circumstances it's in, that's desperately trying to break forth.
Yeah.
And what's great is you get to see this really cool character development as that character starts to come out of its shell.
I think what it really is a young man trying to become a man.
Right.
And I think having, in this particular instance, having this transgender person who kind of walks this line kind of brought this certain feel to it that fit it really well.
Perfectly.
Because it is, again, because a young man isn't a man. You know, he's a boy, and he's
looking to be a man.
But he and a boy
desperately.
Yes, and that kind of and it gives off sometimes this feminine kind of energy.
Right.
Like,
but the original character has it
exactly like
hair.
it. Like, it is exactly like it. Like, I mean, the glasses, the
way
face,
that it's shot, like, even
everything,
the shots,
bro.
the way that the face kind of like lingers up like this.
Yep.
Like, it's all exactly the
like
same,
the anime.
bro.
Like, it's chilling. It really is.
It's right. It's incredible to even like.
Zoro, same thing, man. Like, all of these
my
characters, like the sword in the mouth, like it's all great.
The way he like fights and stuff, the way he uses the swords, I'm just like, man.
Before we get out of here, honestly though, I can't remember his name, but seriously, my favorite actual character from the whole live action series was hands down the dude with the big sword.
Dude with the big sword.
That Zoro tries to battle.
Oh my God. Yes. That's one of the coolest characters ever.
Give me that movie.
I need
that
it now.
show.
What
is that thing?
Give me a franchise of that.
Right. I want to see all the backstory. Like, we first come to him. He like uses it to destroy that ship. He's like, shh. And then he fights fucking Zoro, right? And he basically beats the shit out of him, and refuses to kill him, and he's mad because he won't pull the sword. And finally, out of respect of his fucking relentlessness, the dude with the big sword, the sword has like a name, and he's like, you know what? You deserve to die by Glinda's hands.
Right.
It's like, you're damn right he does.
Right.
You kill that motherfucker with the big sword. Like, don't you dare.
Right.
Like, and when you do, like, for a second, like, because, you know, I don't know the anime. So I'm like, damn, bro, is he about to fucking die?
Right. I don't know if this is a main character.
And for a second, you think it's possible. And that character, it's such a good moment. Right. Like, and I really believe
you really
it.
come to love that
character.
Yes,
that's in the moment that you realize that this dude is
in
not
danger.
The
He's
dude.
overstepped his bounds. Like, because what you've seen so far is like, this dude's carrying 3 swords. Like,
no, I'm talking about the big sword dude.
Well,
at that time, before this, you're like, he's Darth Vader.
Right.
Like, he's the ultimate villain of this show or something.
Yes, because that's a really cool point too.
After he beats Zoro, he's like, this motherfucker's going to be the greatest swordsman one day.
He has a code.
Well, that too, he sees himself. He sees young me, and he knows that one day I can't be that guy no more.
He lives to like have a really good sword fight because he's just so good that no one can find him. He's like, this guy might be able to really fight
exactly.
me
One day,
Right.
he's gonna take my big sword,
Right.
and he's gonna be the guy with the big sword,
Exactly.
and he knows it. And so that respect alone that he lets him live and shit.
Right.
And that I can't remember his last words, but his last words is like he's like cleaning his sword on him. He's like, "Come and see us again.
Right.
You will be ready soon," or something
I
like
can't
that. Like,
remember exactly,
like
but
you
yeah,
know
it's
that
true.
he knows, like, hey, my time's coming.
Right.
Like, this dude's gonna fucking kill me one of these days.
Right.
But today isn't the day. But again, that love again, that's a real Mitch, man. Like,
Right.
it's a real man, like a real level of man
When
to
it's
know.
such a character choice.
Yes, right. I
It's
know,
not like
bro.
it's not a plot convenience choice. It's a
Yes.
really character-driven choice.
Yes.
Which is the most interesting.
And
choice,
even
I
the
find.
choice to like not use the sword to kill him at first.
Right.
Like,
Right.
motherfucker,
It's-
you don't know. You
like,
so weak.
That's what's so cool about seemingly about this show is that you have all of these different like crews, which are you sent that video not too long ago about having these like-minded individuals that just get together and we're like, we got each other's back. Fuck everybody else.
Right.
Right. We're going to develop our code and we will follow that code.
right.
You know,
and
we're gonna do it
and
our
we're
way.
still pirates.
Right.
We're still gonna call ourselves pirates, you know?
Right, because we're just not, because all that means for them is like, we're not on the same track as all the fucking idiots.
Pirates for them mean I'm a free man on the sea looking for gold, man.
Right,
Like
that's it.
that's almost what it means to all of us young people that just want to experience being a pirate.
Right.
And that's Luffy. That's all of us. At
Right.
heart, we are all monkey. We all have been at one point or another. If we're not still, we
Right.
just want to be king of the pirates, bro.
Right.
Like, come on.
To
Like,
go
who
out
doesn't?
into the open
Come
and
on.
find something really
It's
cool.
literally why Assassin's Creed and a lot of other games decide, like, what are the few things that we can do to make it cooler? Make it pirates.
Right.
Like, pirates
Right.
are so fucking cool, bro.
Who wouldn't
like,
wanna be a pirate?
Come on, man. Who doesn't want to be a pirate? And you get the best of both worlds, too, because you get pirates, you get, like, superheroes, kind of.
Essentially.
Like, and villains. And then you get, like, badass regular characters, you know, again, like Zoro and shit,
Swordsmen,
right?
shooters,
Come
fucking-
on, bro. Like,
you know,
this world
it's like
is
both in the 1800s and current
and again,
time at
there's
the same time.
right? And again, and there's like fucking 40,000 of these episodes. So
Right.
we don't even
man.
begin to know like who all of the we've barely just met like Axe Hand and Blippy or whatever his name is. We barely even know any of the other villains or what's to come, or I don't know any of these stories. But I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to it because this is really really great, man.
I'm
I
hooked,
love it.
bro.
But yeah, the dude with the big sword. I can't remember his name, but
I
I,
can't
man,
either
I
for
loved
some
him,
reason.
man. I loved him. Even like I said, the way that episode starts, he's like killing everyone,
Right. Just
and the sword really gives you that Mjolnir feel,
Right.
Like that it is its own
right
thing.
creature. Right.
And I don't know the story of One Piece, but again, it almost seems that one day that will be Zoro's sword. That
Right.
that sword is the sword of the greatest swordsman on earth. And that is the destiny of Zoro, is to be the greatest swordsman on earth. So, and maybe he doesn't claim it, but one day it will be his to claim or not. I guarantee you that. Like, there's no doubt. And he did end up losing his two swords during that battle too. So, really, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to spoil it for myself, but like every time now I see or talk to Matt, I want to be like,
so what's going on later?
right. But I don't want to. I don't want to know. I don't want to
So
know.
now I'm caught in this weird, because now I understand why people would watch 1300 episodes of this.
no
Like,
doubt.
and so part of me wants to, but part of me actually just kind of wants to experience it in this world
Right.
first before I go into the full expanded lore. Because even if this went for 12 seasons, it's still going to be way less episodes than like the other
For
one. Way
sure.
less.
Way less.
Like literally 10% of the
Not
episodes.
even maybe like
Right,
8.
because there's like 8 episodes per season.
Right.
Only 12 seasons?
For
That's
sure.
like 80?
Right. No doubt.
No. It's like 100.
Right.
96. 96 episodes. That's nothing.
That's nothing.
That's
compared
not
to-
even one season of the
right.
original.
No doubt. No doubt.
Dude, Noah's on like season 2, like episode 250. It's like ridiculous, bro.
That's big dumb.
So it's just like, and so I'll probably watch the full one day just because it's, this world is very interesting to me, but.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. No. But guys, that's going to wrap it up for us. We appreciate you guys being here, hanging out. It has been a fun time this week with the episode of Ashoka, and I honestly cannot wait for next week's episode. So I'm super excited for that, and I'm excited to maybe get to sit down and finally watch Seth Rogen's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So we'll see how that goes. Again, we'll try to be back here next Thursday, Wednesday, Friday, somewhere in that range. So stick around, stay tuned. I have been joined today by my friend, colleague, and co-host, Trevor Farney. Trevor, where can people find you at, buddy?
You can find me easiest on Instagram at the Mad Making Mind. Just search that there, and you'll find all the things you need to know about me and the link that you'd click once you're there.
Awesome, guys. And you know where to find me. You can find me at Twitter or X or whatever the fuck Elon Musk wants to name it next week. Right there at Keaton Toothman. Or you can find me on Instagram or anywhere else probably that exists. And, yeah, again, guys, I appreciate you guys being here. I love you guys, too. Thank you so much. But, yeah, we will see you guys next week. And you guys have a good rest of your evening. See you guys.